Hey, folks. Third time is the charm, it seems. I was trying to record this vlog and ended up having to use it in OBS instead of Vegas Capture. Was just running into too many issues trying to record in Vegas. Hey, better for that to happen here for a 10-minute vlog than for, a 20-minute uh, recorded review. So, sorry, you didn't want to hear me ramble. Today, we're going to be taking a peek at my most recent updates with training, kind of discussing maybe a little more holistically about my training. I'm rambling a bit. Sorry, this is my third time doing the video here. Uh, these vlogs probably a little bit more common on this channel. We've been having some interesting kind of deep dives into some shoes, and then we've also been looking at things coming out. So I think it's important to also have that personal touch, that vlog right there. One today, I wanted to talk about something really important. I think that every runner is going to run into, and that's failure, shortcomings. I had a DNF, did not finish most recently this past weekend. Was out on a trail run, wiped out pretty good. Took a stinger on my arm, bumped my head on a tree. I think I hurt my pride worse than anything. I think it was important to kind of reflect on how to grow from that. And I think it might be relatable for some folks too. So why not talk about it? A big lesson I took away from this was to give myself some grace. I say this all the time. The act of running alone, being out there and running, we need to give ourselves credit for that. You're putting one foot in front of the next. It's pretty radical. I think a lot of athletes can probably find comparisons to real life with their sports. I think it's really beautiful and symbolic within running. It's not always going to be perfect. We're going to have setbacks. We're going to have days where we're not feeling our best. We're going to have days where the results aren't what we were hoping for. But we keep striving. We keep moving forward. We keep trying to get better. I think an important lesson on top of that with giving ourselves grace is to, reflect properly. I think that if you reflect in the right way and you don't just catastrophize, which is, easier said than done. I'm an anxious type too. So I could tell you, it took me till that evening to really not think of like worst case scenario. I'm never going to be able to run. I'm never going to be able to get to this distance. All my best days are behind me. Like consider different factors. Find a root cause. So one thing that I have as my reality is that a lot of my medications don't jive well with running. I'll be the first to admit that. I definitely get prideful when folks remind me of that, but they're right. But that's not necessarily saying I'm using that as like copium. It's just being aware of it. I'm not letting it stop me, but there is a level of awareness needs to go into that, right? I have Achilles tendonitis. I've been dealing with that for 2 years. So, I might have days where I'm not going to be at my best, right? But how can I get better from that? First thing comes to mind. I couldn't find my yak tracks that morning. I know when I go out and run in the snow and ice again, say like tomorrow, because there's a snowstorm here, obviously, I'm going to use those yak tracks. That alone is an improvement. That's a step forward. The other big lesson is to fight that imposter syndrome. I was sitting there as I had that stinger in my arm, holding on to my arm, walking by, a little dizzy. People are just zipping by, and I'm just sitting there feeling like I shouldn't be out here. I don't belong out here. And I even to some extent, like this channel, I feel that way sometimes too, right? Where I'm like, I'm doing shoe reviews, but people make better reviews. They're crisper, they're cleaner. I think it's human nature. I have never met somebody who cared about what they were doing that didn't feel that imposter syndrome a bit. But know that you do belong out to where what you're doing, particularly in running, right? You're out there, you're running, so are they. They're gonna worry about them. And, you got to look out for yourself on that. I'm not saying be a jerk to everybody around you, but hey, if somebody gives you a mean look going by, just let them go. Because by the time somebody who's being critical is giving you a mean look or whatever have you, maybe you feel like your pace isn't good enough, you're clogging the lane, and somebody you take it as somebody's giving you like a come on man kind of look. Just let them go. They'll be out of your sight in no time. Worry about what you're doing. And I'll say those are few and far between. I think runners are some of the nicest folks out on the run. Like with my arm, I had like 5, 6 people stop and ask me if I was okay. That meant a lot. So I'm not trying to say they're saying it's like a dog eat dog world out there, but more so that even if you do run into some resistance, just know that it's temporary. That resistance is temporary. What matters is you're healthy, you're safe, you're moving towards your goals. I think something really important to cover, and I do think that it gets overlooked a lot, is not to overcompensate on your training. Two big ways that could happen. One, let's say you had work, you got home late, you were tired, you didn't run that day, you had a 3-mile run. You're like, I'll just make up for it the next run. So next run, you have 3 miles, and you're like, I'm going to make it 6 today because, I was supposed to do 3. Don't do that. It's tricky it's hard not to want to do that, but I'll tell you right now, you're risking injury by doing like more than you had scheduled, more than you had planned. It's okay to listen to your body, but it's even more important to know that if you're putting yourself into an overtraining situation, you risk injury. Yes, you missed out on 3 miles, but you know what's worse than missing out on 3 miles? A hamstring injury, an Achilles flare up. So it's something you just got to be aware of as you're training. You'll make up for it, so to speak, later on when you're healthier and you're able to adjust your training, right? The other side of that too, though, I will say, I think that there's healthy ways to reflect on a less than ideal run. Maybe I'm running 3 miles coming up, and I might put a little more attention into strength training on my days off between running. Using a different outlet, a healthier, safer outlet to be like, okay, my legs felt tired. Maybe I should do some squats. I'm not saying go out there and do 500 squats. I'm just saying, let me do 4 sets of 10, something like that. Because again, I think holistically you are contributing towards that improvement. But really, I just wanted to talk about that today because I think that as runners, we can be prideful for sure, but also like it's important to talk about when we have our shortcomings because I think it's important to reflect and build. Let your social supports know. I told my wife, I was like, I'm feeling kind of in my feelings about not finishing this run. She was there for me. Let your folks that you lean on, your supports, know that it's affecting you. It's healthy to do that. I know it's easier said than done, but it's healthy to use your social supports and explain why the running was important to you. Looking ahead here, we have a review for the New Balance Balos coming up on Friday of this week. I'm liking the groove that we got going here on the weeks that we have videos, vlogs on Mondays, reviews on Fridays, on the off weeks, so to speak, vlog on Wednesday. I'm kind of zipping around some different ideas as far as like using YouTube Shorts, which will also be cross-posted over to like TikTok, Instagram. So figure out maybe I'll probably do those on the weeks that I don't do the full reviews. But after this one with the New Balance, which is already done, just rendering it, we're going to have the Adidas Evo SL, and then after that will be new shoes. I got about 20 miles in a couple different pairs. Plenty to say about some of them. Still need to do my homework on a couple others, but in the coming weeks and months, you'll be seeing plenty of fresh new shoes. If you've seen any unboxing videos, most of those are going to be covered as well. So With that said, I hope you're all staying healthy and safe. If you have any questions, let me know. We have a new microphone coming here soon. The microphone itself is here. It's the mixer I'm waiting on. So hopefully we'll have an audio upgrade here soon. Got the blanket behind me to help with the lighting. Um, really looking forward to what's ahead here. So we'll talk to you here soon, and looking forward to the next video.